Audible?
Yeah, audible kid.
Okay, so good evening, everyone, and I welcome you all to today's session. For me, my name is Kenneth Solomon, and I'll be your host for today's session. On behalf of the Darknet community, I would like to welcome everyone for joining us today. Those who don't know what TDC is, the Darknet community is, the Darknet community is a space where people come together to learn and grow in cybersecurity. And we are also glad to be hosting this session in collaboration with Cybertech Aju. So, in today's session is on importance of elite recon, where we will explore how effective reconnaissance plays a key role in cybersecurity and offensive security. So, now it's my pleasure to introduce our speaker, Mr. Chintan Gurjar, also known as Froggy, who brings over 14 years of experience in cybersecurity.
ये
I'll
भाई
let
अगर
him take
आप उर्दू
over.
या हिंदी में बोले तो
What?
ज़्यादा अच्छा रहेगा। आप अगर हिंदी या उर्दू इस्तेमाल करें तो ज़्यादा अच्छा बेहतर रहेगा ना। सही समझ नहीं आती इंग्लिश।
Sorry, Raja,
Um,
we got some people who are joining from UK as well, so we need to cater for everyone. So apologies for the same.
Yeah. So now I'll let him, Mr. Chintan Gurjar, take over and share more about his journey and insights. Now, Chintan,
Yep.
yeah, over to you now.
All
Thank
right.
you.
All right. Thanks, Kenneth. So hope you can see me, everybody.
Yeah, visible.
Yeah,
Okay.
visit.
Cool. Thanks. Let me share my screen. And can you see the presentation mode
Not it.
now? Now?
Yeah,
Yes.
perfect.
Okay.
I
Cool.
can't see.
Sorry, who cannot see?
Akash.
You can't see that?
Akash,
Yes.
please rejoin. If you got any problem, then please rejoin the session.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, let me go back. Okay, hope you can see the intro slide. Froggy 2.0 Orbis.
Yeah, perfectly.
Okay, cool. So, hi guys, my name is Chintan. My nickname is Froggy. If you want to know what is the story behind that, I'll share a link at the end. But this session is more about the tool demonstration which I have created. I started creating this one from 2017, pre GPT, pre AI era. That was 1.0. It was called Froggy 1.0, and then in late December 2024, it turned into 2.0. And I have done some heavy modifications into recently last 8 months. This tool has been also presented into the Black Hat Arsenal, Las Vegas 2025. It has some good capability. So while it's still a tool demo, or you can say a tool showcase, uh, I'm going to focus more on the external ASM part, more the recon part. Okay, so even though tool does the recon, but what all you can think of from the recon point of view, it's not just web applications, it's not just subdomains or anything. Okay, it's not just cloud. Okay, how you can pick each and every area from the cloud, web, IP, and go deep inside that, find all the metadata and everything. And okay, and how you can connect the dots. Okay, rather than using, let's say, 40 different tools for 40 different purpose, why you should avoid those to save time, and you should use one tool which can do everything. Okay, so we'll go through this journey. By the way, during the session, if you see my face turning red and blue, don't worry, I'm not turning into a Red Hulk or Captain America. I got some RGB lights. Unfortunately, I deleted the app, so it keeps changing. So apologies for that. Cool. So let's dive in. So a bit about me. So I have around 14 years of experience. So my first 8 years were into pen testing and red teaming, from the small security consulting to big one of the big four. And from the last 5 years, I have been leading the vulnerability management and threat intelligence division for the large product based companies. So a couple of big ones are Tesco, Marks and Spencer, which are the retail organization, KPMG New Zealand Consulting, and TikTok, again a product based company. I have been contributing a lot in the community in terms of either creating the open source tools, or releasing my own methodology for pen testing, recon, bug bounty. It's all on there, my website. It's all unfiltered, no monopoly or stuff. You can go, you can start, practically utilizing this. So yeah, a bit about me, and if you want to find out more about my work and everything, you can visit my website. So let's go next. Okay, please scan this QR code. If you have any questions, please ask, on the Slido only. Because a lot of time, you will post some questions in the chat, but we may miss or hit something. So please ask there. And one thing that I want to show is, if you are going to ask something, if someone has already asked, do not need to write question again, just do upvote. So highest upvote questions will be taken first and then the lowest one. So that would be good. Okay, let's go next. I think the Slido link has been already given in the chat, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let's understand the problem statement, that why I created this tool, because there are, hundreds or thousands of tools in the market. Okay, so I don't want to create one more tool and then confuse people that why they should use. Okay, so I was facing some problem in a couple of my engagements during red teaming and pen testing, because again, this is not just a recon tool. This is not just made for the bug bounty, purpose. It is also made for the people who are working in the blue team, who are working within the company, within their threat intelligence, SOC divisions, or vulnerability management division. So there are some problem statements. So attack surface keep growing. So every company has a lots of subdomains. And let's say if we talk about the large companies, then large companies, they have a very siloed environment in terms of the development. So developers will come and they have some requirement, they will spin a VM in the Azure or AWS, and it does not even go through the approval process. So a lot of time companies don't know how many assets are external facing, and that's why they go in the market and they purchase the external ASM tool, or external or just asset surface intelligence tools, which will charge them around 5 digits per month in terms of the dollar. Even though some of the commercial tool would be using the open source scripts in the back end, they just do the white labeling. So I thought, okay, this problem statement exists and we have really good tools, so why can't we make a commercial grade tool and give them a competition? Because the tools that I'm using are free. Some of them are project discovery, some of them are custom scripts. So I'm just using different tools, but the UI that I have created, it's something which is giving a direct competition to some of the tools in the market. So most organizations don't know the number of assets which are external facing. So, and the shadow IT environment, dev environment, sometimes what happens, then people created a Jenkins, it was put on the internet unknowingly, or maybe put on the internet for, like, let's say 3 months, and after 3 months they all forgot it. So now that Jenkins is unpatched, it's like abandoned assets living on the internet and could be posing a lot of vulnerabilities and stuff. So manual recon doesn't scale, because as I mentioned, again, you got 30 plus or 40 plus tools. You have different need and different tools, and even though you get every result, you have to write a lot of automation to make sense out of the data, connect all those data, and then think that, okay, what would be my target and stuff. Okay, and also what happens is, let's say if I give an example, you go for the tesla.com, you find there are 4,000 subdomains, you find that there are 1,000 web applications which are live, right? Now, as a bug bounty hunter in the cluttered market, how would you go and find those top 5 websites which you should hunt first rather than last? If you are just going by the name, let's say admin.tesla.com, the moment you open the website thinking that there might be admin panel, but it redirects to the main domain, right? So what I have done in this tool is, after you complete the recon part, i'm I'm reading each and every asset from the sensitivity point of view, security posture point of view, and the hygiene point of view. And then I'm having a scoring logic which will tell you that, okay, I think out of all these live applications, these are the top attractive domains from the hunting point of view that should be hunted more, from the prioritized point of view. So that will definitely reduce a lot of time for you. Okay, so that was the problem statement. That's why we have created this tool. um, Frogy 2.0 now, because I cannot keep increasing the version number, so I have named it as Orbis. So Orbis is a Latin word which which tells us that it's a complete visibility 360-degree point of view. So what it does basically, so it will find all the subdomain active, passive method. You can also give, APIs and APIs from the GitHub and Shodan. It will also find more domains. It will find the login panels. So I think this is one of the key area which I haven't found in many of the different subdomain enumeration tools. Even let's say HTTPX or something. I don't know whether they have implemented now or not, but this was the feature request which I requested, that you find a web application. Out of this, let's say 100 applications, how many applications have a login panel? Whether you can find it via input type text and password on the home page, or you find a submit button, or you find a login button, or you find authentication button. Okay, so is it something you can include? So I created a custom script which will try to identify how many applications have a login panel, because if there is a login, it is trying to protect something. Okay, I saw some question popping up. Is it possible that you can ask the same question in Slido? So I'll take it at the end. Okay, so I don't want to interrupt the flow of the this one. uh, okay, so it will find the login panel, and then it will also find the cloud assets. So basically Azure, AWS, GCP assets, or other cloud assets. I want to separate the cloud assets from the on-prem asset, because most of the time the cloud assets will be much more protected in terms of the native AWS, Azure, GCP firewall. And the on-prem assets, they may or may not have a security control. So I would hunt more on the the assets which are hosted on premises. Okay, interactive asset relationship graph. So this is something I'll explain at the end. So it is one of the feature where I'm providing the graph view. So you can literally move asset, you can drag the graph, and you can see how many different assets this node or this particular asset is connected to. Every open port across the live assets. So basically I'm scanning the top 500 ports on the on-prem assets. If it's a cloud assets, then I'm scanning only top 25 ports which are related to web, because for the cloud assets, mostly Cloudflare or GCP, if you do a port scan, it will turn into nothing because they already block all the ports. Okay, then we do the TLS scanning and all. So you have the web discovery, you have the subdomain discovery, you have the IP discovery, and then one more thing, you also have the certificate discovery. So how many certificates are deployed, when the certificate is going to expire, how many of the certificates are having a weak cipher or a strong cipher. So I'm providing the certificate analysis. Now I know that in the bug bounty program, these are not the findings that you would submit, but this is only to give you the more knowledge about the asset. Okay, let's say asset has a admin in the subdomain name. Also, it has a 200 OK. So when I say the subdomain name, so now we are talking the domain intelligence. Let's say the asset is resulting into 200 OK status code, and it has some content length. So that metadata is coming from the web intelligence. Now that asset is particularly having a certificate expired more than 100 days ago. So that is called a certificate intelligence. So we are combining certificate intelligence, web intelligence, and domain intelligence to conclude that probably this asset, even if it's admin assets, then the certificate, if it's admin assets and it would have been used already, then someone would have renewed the certification, right? But if the certificate is not renewed, probably we can consider that that asset might be abandoned. So I think I should hunt that asset more. So that is why the different types of intelligence is required, and how you can connect the dots, that is more important. So along with the certificate intelligence, we are also providing the mail intelligence. Whether each domain has SPF, DKIM, DMARC, all these records are set or not. Some of the records are new, which I am also learning. So let's say BIMI and MTA. So these are also useful, but some of them would be like optional. So let's say the major mandatory one are SPF, DKIM, and DMARC records. Sometimes DNS record. So this is all about the mail infrastructure, and based on what records are set and not, I'm also providing a separate score. And then risk-based prioritization. So you collect all this intelligence, and then I mentioned the three pillars: sensitivity, security posture, and hygiene. Based on that, I'm providing the risk score. So all in the one single HTML page. Okay, every web application status, tech stack, metadata, headers are set or not, and also 55 plus subdomain takeover, fingerprints, and all. I just want to be clear that uh, this tool is basically the attack surface intelligence, not the vulnerability finding tool. Okay, so you will not find the vulnerabilities. You will only find what are assets which are exposed, what are the metadata of the assets, And subdomain fingerprinting is also one of the asset intelligence. So that does not mean I'm finding subdomain takeover vulnerabilities. So this is a part of the intelligence, that's why I'm giving, but don't confuse this tool with other tools. Okay, third party vendor analysis. So let's say if you are using a web crawling, it goes through the home page and couple of other page, and it finds that okay, these are the XYZ third party which are being used. So I'm also listing the third party, and that all intelligence will go into the interactive graph which you will be able to see. Yes, Mohit. Mohit, do you have any question? If you are speaking, you are mute. Okay, we'll carry on. So this pipeline is called 31 stage automated pipeline. So all you have to give is a primary domain and it will all find everything for you. Okay, so let's go in deep into the 31 stage pipeline. Okay, so let's say first couple of steps. So seed expansion, basically you are giving, let's say, tesla.com. So before doing the active subdomain hunting, it will go on the existing database, and there are a couple of existing database, that chaos project discovery, certificate analysis through cert.sh. It will also find the CIDR range, and if there is an IP to domain mapping, it will also find those. So this is all called the seed expansion. Then we are coming into the active discovery. So now you are going for the subdomain finder, asset finder, GAU, rapid DNS, virus total, API, and all. Again, within the subdomain discovery, there are also so many different tools, from let's say from Recon FTW to asset finder, and so many different tools. I have already used 60 plus tool, including MAS. Okay, but I'm only selecting couple of these tools. There is a very good reason for that. I did hunting for I did only research for those 60 tools. I give small scale domains to medium scale to high scale domain. When I say high scale, which means a larger subdomain area, if I'm using all tools and if I'm using these tools, the accuracy is still same, around 99%. So hardly one time if I'm using AMAS or some other tools, it will find 5 or 6 extra subdomains. But even those 5 or 6 extra subdomains are dead. It is only finding based on the historical analysis. Imagine, let's say if your Tesla has 5 more subdomains which are found by AMAS, and my script only found 5 less subdomains, but whatever extra AMAS found, they are also dead, right? If they are something which are live, then subfinder would have also found, right? So that is the reason why I have selected these tool, because if I integrate AMAS, then probably it will also increase my scan time. So I want to provide the very maximum output with minimum amount of time. That is why I have carefully selected these tools. So this all goes into the research from the 2018, 2017, since I started building. So I've been doing all the experiments. Then DNS and takeover. So we get a full DNS record. So from, let's say, A record to 4A record, like IPv4, IPv6, CNAME record, mail exchange record, NS record. We are giving everything. We are also giving what are the assets which are behind CDN versus WAF, or which are directly exposed on the internet using origin IP and stuff. And then we got port and IP scanning. So NABU scanning is there for the top 500 port with a scene scan detection. So it's fast and comprehensive. And if something is on, let's say, CDN or the web, then we are scanning all the top 20 ports for the web application. So let's say if you're scanning something, you're not only getting applications on the ATN 443, but you will also get on a non-standard port like 8080 or 9002 or something like that. Okay, and then we do IPv6 scanning as well. So IPv6 scanning, if you are doing the DNS analysis and you find that IPv4 and IPv6 are there, so we'll get both the result. And then we do, so up to here what we have done, we have found the subdomains, we have done all the DNS analysis, we have found the open ports. Once we find the open port, we go for the web hunting. Now we know the web applications are live. Then we crawl the web application, identify all the pages from the unauthenticated point of view, identify all the JavaScript, and do some more analysis. From the JavaScript, if we find some more subdomain, it will again go through this entire process. Once it has completed the crawling, then now we have more data, so we can do some security analysis. For example, how many of the websites are having certificate or certificate expired, or how many of the websites are having login panel, how many of the websites are having cookies which are not secured with HTTP only or secure flag, or they have headers or not. If headers are there, they are rightly configured or not. So we do that security analysis, and then we also get some more intelligence on the third party vendor. So let's say one of the meta domains is using Zendesk as a supporting tool, right? So let's say support.meta.com is being used, is pointing to the DNS which are on the Zendesk, right? So which means they're using the Zendesk as a third party vendor, so that will come under this one. So you can also think from the supply chain point of view. Let's say tomorrow if Zendesk is hacked, or some open source libraries are hacked, that these companies using those libraries, how can we report something, how can we test something, how can we build a hypothesis. So that is all covered in the intelligence part. And the same time, the cloud provider. So cloud provider is important, because until and unless you understand which AWS or Azure is there, I mean AWS is there, Azure or GCP, you can't craft the specific attacks. Okay, you might have some good checklists on the cloud testing, but you need to understand what cloud is that. For example, if there is a S3 bucket, yes, you are talking about the AWS, but if you are talking about the Azure, then you have to do some more testing for the Azure blob storage which are getting leaked. So we do all this intelligence analysis, and then we score and report. So that is our ultimate goal. Okay, so I think what I explained up to here is everything almost now, but now couple of slides I'm going to go a bit fast because we can slowly go into the demo. So in the subdomain discovery and DNS intelligence, all we do is this, which I have almost explained everything. So yeah, wayback analysis, passive plus active and all, and then this is all about the DNS intelligence. So who is registrar cloud, and then results are merged into the final graph. Web fingerprinting, so we do the web fingerprinting using HTTPX, and then we identify CD and web, text tag, web servers, status code, homepage redirection or not, also the homepage title, homepage description, everything. Then we do the TLS analysis, what protocols are being used, are they expired or not, are there weak ciphers or not. And then we do login detection. So secret detection is not currently implemented, but that is my go-to plan, that's why I have included. So mostly in the JavaScript, if we find something, or if we find some hard-coded secret, then it will be able to find. And then we do security compliance analysis in terms of the hygiene part. So security headers are set or not, server version information disclosure or not, and cookie flag and everything. Cloud mapping, so I think the terminology is slightly understood, so I'll remove that. So it's more about the cloud mapping, not the cloud threat intelligence. So it's more like cloud mapping and intelligence. So how many there are different ways to detect the AWS Azure stuff, or the different cloud stuff. So I have added 12 plus providers, because these are the most of the cloud providers which are being used, including one of them could be Alibaba. So if I look at the asset, how do I test that these are the cloud assets or not? So there are different patterns for that. So once we go into the demo, I'll show you that, okay, this is a cloud asset. Why? Because I'm providing the XYZ evidence. Okay, so it checks for the buckets and everything. Also subdomain takeover 55 plus dangling CNAME record. So this is again already there on the GitHub. There are so many subdomain takeover tools. So I'm taking the same fingerprinting and just implementing those here. So kudos to those developers. And then third-party analysis based on the CSP headers or Katana JS reference file. And also Katana is a web crawler, as you already know. So it does the JavaScript analysis and identify more third parties and all. And then favicon, so you look at the any website and you'll see that meta icon, or if you go to Google, then you'll see the Google icon which is called favicon in the URL section. So we also do some analysis and identify what technologies are being used there. Okay, so this is more important. So I talked about the three pillars. Okay, so the first pillar is called sensitivity. So when the entire recon is completed, first we are finding, are some of these assets or all the assets are sensitive or not, and then we are providing the scoring. So let's say admin.tesla.com. So admin, what is that? So admin monitoring tool. So I'll give a rating 12. Okay, so 12 is the score. Now employee facing asset or internal asset. So let's say support.zendesk.com, or sorry, support.tesla.com, and public.tesla.com. These are the external or employee facing assets. But let's say jenkins.tesla.com, grafana.tesla, these are the internal assets which are not supposed to be on the internet. So if they are internal asset, then I'll give plus 12 score. So plus 12 plus 12, 24, right? Then we do the crawling of the surface complexity up to 12. So if there are assets which are having more than 12 unique URLs, okay, so I'll give 12 score. So likewise, I'm increasing the score for each and every stuff. Okay, if the score goes more than 40, the final score will be still 40. That's the threshold that I'm giving, because I want to keep everything under the 100, right? So first one is a sensitivity bar. The second one is the exposure. Okay, so if they have open cloud storage buckets, give a 20. If it has a logging panel, give a 20. If it's a confirmed subdomain takeover, then give between 15 to 20 based on the evidence. Okay, so let's say it's a high value asset. It has Jenkins, Kubernetes, Grafana panels, or let's say Swagger UI platforms or panels which are exposed, and give those rating. So this is the exposure part. So here everything about the sensitivity, here everything about what has been exposed. If it has, let's say, MySQL port open, then I'll give plus 12 rating. Again, the highest score would be 35 here. Okay, and then the last part is the hygiene. If the SSL is expired or not, do they have weak cipher or not, do they have security headers or not, is it end of life server or not. So this is all about the hygiene. So based on these three, the maximum score would be 100, and then I'm rating each asset based on these three criteria. So when you see a score, once we go in the live demo, you can also check what is the overall sensitivity score, what is the overall exposure score, and hygiene score. Based on that, how much I have scored out of 100. So that is the most unique part currently I'm doing, and this is very flexible. So project is open source. Okay, I have three pillars, right? If you can think of five different pillars, or you can think of more points over here, you can go, you can edit the code, you can, have your customization. So currently there are very less, probably not less, I would say I haven't seen any single tool which provides scoring based on this one. So this is called asset attractiveness scoring. Okay. Okay, so the final report. So I promise this is the last slide, and then we'll go into the demo. I think the second last, yes. So the final report has overview, one section for the domain intelligence, one for the application, one for the IP address, one for mail infrastructure, email, one for the certificate, one for the cloud, internet footprint. So this checks for the CIDR blocks and other stuff. Who is, you can also find admin contact information from who is or something. One for the SaaS tenants and third parties. And then asset topology, this is more about the graph. So this is the final report you will get. Okay, now asset topology is something. So you have all these nodes, okay, and then you have all these edges. So for example, if it says admin.tesla.com has a DNS entry to another domain or another stuff, right? Or probably let's say admin.tesla.com, and then you get this redirect edge to tesla.com. So these are the graph, and I'll show you the practical ones. But this is the colors of the node is something that you would need to know now. But this is also mentioned on the UI part. Okay, now I want to make it very clear that this tool is also used for the bug bounty hunters. Why? Because if you're going for the wildcard, rather than using 100 different tools, you can utilize one single tool. You know everything. You can pivot everything in the single page report, and then based on the scoring, you can identify and prioritize your targets. Because if the larger the attack surface, the larger the hypothesis or the test cases you can create, and you will have more, chances to find the vulnerabilities. At the same time, this is also helpful for the people who are into consulting, and they are they are doing the pen testing for their clients. Sometimes clients will come, or you have a regular clients who is giving you all the wildcard on a yearly basis or something. You can keep running this tool throughout the year, and you can identify more and more subdomains. At the same time, this is also used for the red teamers, because red teamers who are working into the consulting company, they are usually not given what are the number of websites and all. They will find couple of them, and then they will have to do the wildcard hunting, so they can utilize the same. This is also used for the security engineers. Now up to bug bounty, pen testing, and red teaming, I'm talking about the consulting firms. And the last two, I'm talking about the product based comps. So let's say if you're working in Tata Sky, Reliance, or Geo, you are either security engineer or vulnerability manager or a SOC manager or a CISO. You can check these to identify what all assets are exposed on the internet, how many assets are not, should not be supposed to expose on the internet. So you can prioritize that. Okay, CISO comes and tell, okay, I have got this ASM report from somewhere. There are 5 different staging assets which are on the internet. We don't need to expose all of them now, take it offline. So they can take some sort of prioritization from there. Because if you are keep on exposing the asset, then someone will definitely attack. Okay, even if you have, let's say, 50 different assets exposed, and out of which there are 5 assets which are not supposed to be exposed, but let's say later, after 2 or 3 years, you are going for the public VDP or bug bounty program, people will start reporting findings for those assets for which you never intended to keep in the program, but because you have wildcard, so people will submit the findings. Okay, so enough for theory. Now let's go into the practical. So this is the, just a second, I'll take. Okay, so this is the repo. Very simple. So whatever I have explained, how does the entire tool does the analysis, it's all here. You can see my GitHub, right? Okay, cool. So whatever I'm doing, all the 31 stage stuff is here. You discover your stuff, you prop stuff, then you analyze everything, and then you do the risk scoring, and then your final output. Okay, so
Well, screen is not visible.
okay, just a second. I think it's visible for me that I'm presenting the right
Chin,
It is
yeah,
visible.
visible, Chintan, visible.
Okay, cool. All the 31 stage pipeline explained here. Amit, you can rejoin if the screen is not visible. Yeah. And all the key features, whatever I explained, is all here. So you also want the PDF of the presentation I'll give you, but everything is mentioned here. Okay, the scoring is mentioned here. These are some of the screenshots which will go into the later part. Okay, the installation is very easy, so I'm not going to cover. I have a Docker, so you just clone the repo, give the full permission, run the Docker. Okay, if you're using the native Linux, let's say Ubuntu, Kali Linux, or inside that, then you will give this command. If you're using Mac OS or Windows, you will give this command. Okay, the only reason I have separated those, because the way we provide this one network host or privilege, so if you don't provide this one, probably it will not be able to send the SYN packet or the TCP packet. So this is just to give some extra permission. The reason why we use this is whatever you do inside the Docker, you will also have the same output folder on your disk machine. So you don't have to go inside Docker and get all those files and do the back and forth operation. Okay, just a second. Okay, so the installation is simple. Once you run this Docker command, you will be given this one. The port has been changed now. The port will be 47806, but yeah, you can give whatever port you want to over there. So it should be all okay. Okay, so when you land, this would be your home page with all these projects are blank. Okay, just want to ask one question. If anyone has any URL which they want to give me, so I can show them how do I do the scan. If there are any volunteers who have their own URLs or they have permission.
I am giving
Okay, just make sure the number of
Ubuntu program or normal URL.
just make sure the number of subdomains are less than 20 so that we can complete within the time. Otherwise, it will take some time.
Yes, sure.
Okay, cool. Give me the URL.
To capture.com.
Just write.
Send it. Send it.
Okay, cool. Well, just a second.
This is to.
Okay, so let's say if we have a domain, we can give it here. You can give any project name to captcha, let's say. Okay, I think there is no T. It should be okay. We can give any name here and then the domain name. Okay, I think someone asked the question, does it find all the horizontal and vertical both? So in some cases, yes. So let's say the way it would do the horizontal and vertical. For example, if you're giving a Tesla.com, it has some sort of capability to find all the subdomains of Tesla plus also SpaceX and other companies owned by Tesla. The way it does is it goes to the Tesla.com on the whois. It will find the organization name. Okay, so the organization name will be called Tesla organization or something. Okay, then it will take that name, go on the cert.sh, and cert.sh, when you give the organization name, you will not only get the Tesla.com but also SpaceX.com and all the other subdomains. Most of the time it would fail because many companies do not release all of their whois data, right? So they won't it will be all redacted. So if you can find an exact organization name from the whois, because the company allows people to see that, then yes, definitely it will find the horizontal and vertical both subdomains. So yeah, you give all these stuff here. You can schedule if you want to, otherwise no need to. You can edit.
अरे check the spelling. Check the spelling.
Sorry,
Captcha. The spelling check. Check the spelling. CATCHA.
you have given the same thing which I am giving now. Okay, let's.
Oh,
So you are talking about T, right? This is the one.
हाँ. Just open browser. Just 2 minutes.
Okay, cool. That's fine.
Open it. Then check.
Yeah, that's fine. So let's go for this one. So yeah, simply come here, you schedule or you add it to the queue or just run it. Okay, so it will still run the 30 one step pipeline. The beauty about this, whatever is happening within the Docker, you can check that. So Aditya, can you, yeah, mute, thank you. Okay, so the beauty about this, you can also check what is happening inside the Docker. Okay, so you can come here, you can click on the view logs, so you can see, okay, what it's taking. Entire code has been written in single bash file. Okay, so it's very easy to understand. I'm using Python only to showcase the UI. Okay, but everything, the entire coding logic is all there in this file. So you can imagine this is very heavy file, 4000 line of code. So yeah, everything is here, so you can easily view. Okay, going back, so all this 31 step you will be able to see it here. Okay, if I add anything new now, let's say I'll again scan my website with another name. So okay, so if I do run, it will run one scan at a time for now, just to utilize the resources, and the moment it gets completed, it will be automatically started. Okay, you can come here and configure your API keys. Once you configure, you can also click on test. Okay, so the more API keys you include, the more it will be able to find. Currently I have already integrated this many sources. I don't think so more sources are required. You can include as many as you want, but the ultimate number of live subdomains, or the subdomains which are resolving to some IPs, would be very limited. So that is something you can even easily find using 3 or 4 tools. So no need to boil the entire ocean if you want to drink one sip of water. Okay, you can also do the dark mode or light mode depending upon what you like. Okay, so I have already scanned 3 of them, so let's go to my website. If I go on the report, what you will get is this. So left hand side, all the main feature. Right hand side, the high level dashboard, which will tell you, okay, out of total assets, how many of them are live, how many subdomains found, how many web applications found, are any of those on cloud tier or on-prem tier or CDN tier. So they are all behind the CDN, SPF configured or not. So yeah, self-explanatory, all the dashboard widgets. So attack surface, how many of them are having email authentication configured or not, how many of them are having these XYZ headers or not. So they are all widgets here. Okay, now this table is very long. There are 73 different columns. Okay, there was no other way to explain everything into one single view, so I created this long table. Okay, if you want to navigate, you can just go on the right. Okay, now what is this table? Let me explain. Okay, so the first one is called attack surface score. I'm not going to explain all 73, but why this is important, so I'll show you. So the attack surface attractiveness score. Okay, so if I do the mouse over here or probably click on 60, this will tell me that exposure 11, hygiene 25, sensitivity 24. Why? Because some of the top 5 contributing score evidence are here. If I go on 54, then this. Okay, likewise if I go on the 47, then this. Okay, so this is the way I'm rating the score. So now you know that if you come on my website, probably you should start hunting from this one. Don't hunt, because everything is on GitHub, everything is static, so you won't get anything except for low hanging fruit. Okay, then couple of early columns are nothing but the domain intelligence. Okay, so what I'm doing, all 73 columns are total number of columns from all these feature. Okay, but initial ones are domain intelligence. Then if you go on the right hand side, all of these are coming from the application intelligence. Okay, So beauty about this is, let's say you have 4,000 subdomains and let's say 1,000 websites. Okay, now you might run httpx to identify title, and then you use jq or you export those things into csv and then do a filtering. But all you can do is just come here, you can know everything. So just by looking at the title, if you think that okay, I have a Grafana title or I have a Jenkins title, probably you can directly click on that. Let me give you a better example. So let's say if I go to this report, so this has 2 on-prem, couple of cloud and all. Now if I come down, let's say 69 score is based on all of this. Okay, now if I come on the right hand side, let me go to the http table, which is homepage title. So if I go through here, it says one compliance dashboard. I'm not sure whether they are required to be on the internet or not. One says welcome to Nginx, one says NA, just a moment. So probably they are redirecting. One is error page directly. Probably these two are something which are customer facing or employee facing. Okay, so let's say if I click on this one, automatically filter everything. Okay, and then let's see if I click it on the next page. Now you know that's a default page. Okay, so I have currently selected all the targets which are small. So you can imagine this one is having 32 subdomains, around 29 application, which finish within the 15 minutes. You may think the 15 minutes is more time, but the amount of data we are gathering for every single feature is too much. So if you consider that, then 15 minutes is very less time compared to other tools, right? So let's say Dextrade. If you go into the Dextrade, we come to the later part here, and then look at the http title. So yeah, you see some of the 404, and then again you found the nginx. So if you find Grafana Jenkins, you can check here. So the second some of the columns are application intelligence. It will also tell you how many of the websites have login page or not, yes or not, API identity. So if I click here, I know that this asset is an API asset. So look at the API Dextrade. Okay, so this is how you would, I would suggest when you use this tool, utilize filters a lot. Okay, let me go right. Okay, so let's say colleague facing portals. So these are the portals which I think, based on the keyword analysis, they are not supposed to be made public. If they have kept it public, if they have security, and if they have some use cases, obviously we would not know until we start reporting those. Okay, how many of the assets are having no security headers or anything, you can find those here. So these are all about the application hygiene. For each application, it will scroll through the katana and identify all the unique URLs. I'm already deduplicating and filtering URLs, so you will find most of the stuff here. Okay, and then it comes with the CDN and cloud part. So whether this is CDN or cloud, or let's say if it's a CDN, let's say CDN name is cloud, but is it a WAF or just a load balancer, or WAF and load balancer both? So you can easily flag that here. If you can identify the number of ports which are open, but for each port I'm also categorizing that, okay, if you have all of these port open, web application delivery ports are 4, let's say 80, 443 and all, but then you also have some of the management ports. Okay, so I'm considering, let's say 8443, 8080 could be some management port, or these are cPanel also management portal. So I'm giving here the criteria that, so based on the also criteria, if there are multiple categories of port open, you can identify that I think I should hunt this target more. Okay, then you come to the network part. So now you're coming onto the IP and mail infrastructure part, then SSL part, which is here. If you go on the right, and the cloud evidence, which I was talking about. Okay, so again, I'm not explaining all 73 column, but how to use this tool, I'm explaining those. So let's say if you want to type admin, okay, so there is nothing is there. So when you, whatever keyword you give here, okay, it will find that keyword into entire table data. So let's say API. Okay, so if you go for the API, it would have API keyword somewhere here. Let me refresh this. Okay, let me, so I might need to refresh again. Yeah, so if you type API, then you can see the API things are coming. Okay, and then let's say whatever, yeah, so whatever you search here, it will all search in the entire table. Okay, let's go through one by one feature. So this is all about the domain intelligence. So domain, if they are live, you will get the IP address, IPv64, if there is any, all the CNAME record, TXT. So not only this data is useful for bug bounty hunters, but if you're working as a project manager or vulnerability manager, or into the product based company, this data is a gold mine, which you are getting it for free. You'll also get the whois analysis and stuff. Okay, if you go to the application, all the same stuff. Okay, if you go to the IP address, then host name, ASN provider, if it can find any, but a lot of these are on the AWS, so you'll find the AWS as a ASN provider. Network block, if you have configured Shodan, it will also go on Shodan and identify the service version. So let's say if FTP port is open, then it will be able to identify which FTP package or service is running, open FTP or FTPD or something, along with the version number. This is mail infrastructure. So this one says 20. Why? Because it has SPF present, DKIM present, DMARC none. But let's say these are 100 because this does not have SPF, DMARC, and all these records are set. Okay, so you can come on the right and you can check all of this. TLS infrastructure, so you can see the different ratings here based on all these criteria. So let's say none of their certificates are going to be expired here. They also have this weeks, they don't have a weak cipher or anything, they don't have a self-signed certificate or something. Yeah, they have a self-signed certificate, but it's coming in the yellow. Okay, so based on the red, yellow, or green, it would definitely check the rating. Let me check the Dextrate to see if they have anything in the TLS part. So yeah, they all have, I think. So what you can analyze from this and this, this target and this target, this is which one? Let me check. So this is a bit true and this is Dextrate. Okay, so you can check that all of their certificates are getting expired on 80 days. Their score is also same. Okay, so also if you come here, most of the columns are also same compared to this one. Some of their certificates rating are different, some of the certificates are expiring in different days. Okay, so basically you can also create a hypothesis that this company manages certificates in a not a standard way, where they are renewing all the certificates on the time, because there would be different teams who would be responsible for different certification renewal, where this company has a very centralized management of all the certification. They registered all the domain and install all the certificate in one time. That all the certificates are getting expired on one single day. That's why you can see a more streamlined approach when this company is managing the cert. Cloud infrastructure, so which asset is on which cloud, and if you come on the right hand side, these are the evidence because they are belonging to ASN range for the Cloudflare range or something. So this is something I'm providing as a evidence. Internet footprint, so I think this is something I'm building at the moment, but it's not currently there. What I'm going to give is, let's say if you give tesla.com, if there are some lookalike domain of Tesla, which has a Tesla logo, Tesla kind of page and all, but they are not actually tesla.com, then I'm also providing that here. That is not useful for the bug bounty, but for the companies that are really useful, because someone might use Tesla logo and register tesla.org, which is not original Tesla company owned domain. Then they can start doing a phishing analysis, or they can start phishing and then target their Tesla customers and all. So those sort of we call it a domain typo squatting or something, which we can provide it here. SaaS tenants, so let's say Slack and all. So I'm not saying they're using Slack, but if I give a dextrade.slack.com, and same for here, if I add bitroot.slack.com, if it says 200, probably I'll go on that, and if it asks me for the login, then yes, they might be using Slack. Okay, but if let's say they are redirecting somewhere and it tells me that okay, they might not be using, or it goes on to their default help page, so they might not be using Zendesk. Okay, but I have more than like around 50 SaaS tenants and their URL construction, but only these many are giving replies, others are turning into 404 or 500. So that's why these are good to evaluate. Third parties, if I can find any, mostly AWS, and as I mentioned, if there is a Zendesk and support, then it will come under this one. So this is also useful. Now the most important part, the asset topology. So this is the graph part I was talking about. Okay, so you can also filter. Let's say you don't want to see the vendors, so you can click here, so vendors will disappear, but the moment vendors are disappear, the connection will also go. So Amazon AWS is handling couple of these domains. If I zoom out, I come here. Okay, AWS load balancer is handling this one. Okay, they have a fastly other, I don't know why it is used, but lot of a lot of their domains are closely connected to the closet closet.com. I don't know what that means, but that is something good to analyze, because I haven't found. Okay, you will not find these particular name anywhere in this table, because all the stuff that it will give is around ending with bitru. But asset topology and the metadata tells us that why a lot of things are being connected to this one. So what is the relation between these two? Should you hunt on this one? Are they passing data on these, between these or not? Okay, so you can check all of these over there. Okay, and there are some standalone connections. So Zendesk is supporting directly. So now Zendesk is not part of their AWS or the closet. It's a separate SaaS tenant. That's why it's everything in on Zendesk is connected to this. Okay, then you can also check here AWS CDN is handling this. Okay, let's go to another one, asset topology. So for this one, the surface is small. You can now, okay, this one is slightly interesting. So if you go if you do a bit of a zoom, you can know that all of these subdomains are having some sort of name, paidx, mail, and all. They are all being secured by Cloudflare. By the way, you can also drag and drop this, so you can just drag it here. Okay, also there is some another unknown, let's say cloud or something, but all of these subdomains have some sort of number, ww1, ww35, dev, and all. So I'm not sure why these two are separate. They could have managed everything through one Cloudflare. And if this is separate, are they actually online? Are they resolving to any sort of web application or not? What is this another unknown? Should I hunt here or should I hunt here? So you can do these sort of analysis. Okay, so if I go, let's say this is going to be completed, but meanwhile I'll go to my website. My entire infrastructure is on GitHub pages. So if I come here, you will see everything. It says Cloudflare because by default Cloudflare is already included in GitHub, but everything is on GitHub, so you won't see anything different here. Okay, so we'll wait for this one. Okay, meanwhile, before we take the questions from the Slido, if you guys have any questions, you want to speak it up rather than type, then please do it until this gets finished. Any questions anyone want to speak? You can share questions or share feedback or anything you want to speak.
Sir,
Yep.
sir, I have one question for every senior. So that traditional the traditional techniques and the methodologies all about cybersecurity and bug bounties are now it's like there are no use for implementing in real time or any other platforms. So the methodologies will becoming losing its own identity. So.
Okay. So what is the question actually? Or you are sharing
So
the
what is
feedback?
what I mean? So what I mean is, if in old tradition SQL,
Hmm.
if we consider SQL injection,
Hmm.
so the input parameters, if we test basic SQL injection, it will detect. So nowadays, Cloudflare or web application firewalls, it will always detecting
Hmm.
SQL injection and preventing most. Then also some kind of methodologies and techniques will be losing. So,
Okay. So let me share
so
my feedback. Okay. So
okay, sir.
methodologies were still same. Okay. The reason why we are not able to find bug is the market. Okay.
Yes, sir.
If I search here, let's say song. Okay, and let's say you pick any random website. Let's say if I go on the number 8, and let's say if I pick this one, AZ lyrics. If you utilize the traditional methodology, I'm 100% sure you will still find the bugs here. Okay, why here and why not on Spotify? Because Spotify has a bug bounty program, they have a security team, it's a large company, they have already fixed all the bugs coming from their pen test, their internal pen testing, their bug bounty, their internal SaaS scanner, and everything. There are already millions of researchers who have already submitted bugs on Spotify versus this website. So the traditional methodology still works. It's just that this target hasn't been tested. That's why you are able to find the bug, right? Now, if you're only doing bug bounty, okay, then probably yes, out of let's say 100 bugs, you might be able to find something which is unique and no one has found in the entire world, and the chances are getting very less, okay, compared to the people who have done the full-time automation, 100 times automation. There are full-time bug bounty researchers and all. So don't feel demotivated if you don't find the bugs. It's not, you are learning the skills, you are not competing those people, okay. They have started when, you know, around like 15 years ago or something. That's why they are full-time for now, okay. We can't beat that competition until and unless we spend dedicatedly 5-6 years. But let's say if you're learning for it, then pick a random website like this and apply those methodologies. I'm sure you'll still find a bug, okay. So the goal idea is to do a, let's say, full-time job and part-time bug bounty. um, you're not doing bug bounty, you if you're a beginner, you should do bug bounty to learn, okay, because bug bounty, we use a terminology called try harder, right? So you need to hunt
sir.
on a website and then try to find the bugs rather than thinking about the money and try to find a bug, okay. So that is my recommendation. Okay, let's go to captcha, look at the report. So around 282 web applications found, 5 on cloud, one on on-prem. So these are the asset tiers. Okay. Mm, so what you see here is basically the total number of subdomains. Okay, let's look at, so there are dr.to which has this sort of rating. Okay, let's say if we go to the IP first and then I go on the last, then I would check they have OpenSSH 8.8.0. Probably this one would be outdated compared to this one. They have Nginx 1.10.1. So I will check whether this is latest or not. Are there any bugs or CV or not? I will also check on here trick. Let's first, I'm finding the numbers. Uh, Okay, I'll find the CV and then I'll look at the probably if there are any exploits available for that particular CV or not. So it should be here. They keep updating this database all the time. So for one particular CV, if there are any POCs available, it would be here. Okay, let's go. IP. So first I do is I come here and I look at all the different ports and stuff. Okay, so that is one thing. Then I come here application and look at the titles. Okay, so they also have a Nginx page open. There is a captcha resolver, there is a bad gateway, and yeah, so probably I'm not sure about this one, so I'll go and check this. Okay, so this one redirects to the home page. Okay, so even though let's say from the title it looks something interesting, it's not really interesting. Otherwise, that interesting asset would have been on the top over here. Why? Because when we executed that one, it directly went to the home page. So this one is interesting according to the scoring part. So we can look all the data, we can look at the title, we can open the website and see what is okay. So there is some sort of panel. Then we can do the brute forcing, try bypassing the basic authorization and stuff. Okay, there is a mail too which says forbidden. So certificate is already expired. Probably could be the old domain or pointing towards the wrong DNS or something. Okay, so that is also interesting. The small one, it's a default page, right? So you can know now. Imagine there are 282 web applications. If there is a CTF, you don't want to waste time after finding the live applications on a different ports. Okay, so live hosts are, there are 30, but let's say one host has three ports open, 80.443 and 8080. Then I will count three web applications. That's why the number of applications are high. Even let's say imagine you're on the CTF and you don't want to waste time, so you come here. Based on the scoring, if you pick targets, that will be more easy for you to start hunting rather than looking at something. Let's say dr.to, you will never know what dr.to, but yeah, you know what is beta, what is API, what is admin, right? But let's say admin, if you try hunting based on the name of admin, but that admin does not lead you anywhere, but instead you come on here, you do hunting based on the scoring, then you might be able to find something easily, I would say. Okay, so they have all these ports open, which we have already checked. So asset topology, we can also check. If something is, let's say you come here, you want to ignore all the assets which are being managed by Cloudflare, so yeah, you ignore that. Okay, this is looking interesting. So DR2 already came into our picture, but I don't know what is heads and other. Okay, probably this may be CDN or not even, but I know that if I try something here, Cloudflare will block me. Again, Cloudflare will only block you if you're trying a lot of injection and a lot of autonomous stuff. If you're going for the business logic flows, which I'll talk in a second, then Cloudflare will not also block you. Okay, so if you are going for the business logic flow, you will likely to find more vulnerability. But this is interesting why these are different compared to here, so I would start hunting from here. This is also interesting because most of them are API. uh, this is also okay, so this one is GCP, so their email infrastructure is on their Google. I'm not sure on this one, so let's say the Square. If you come here, so you can see what is Square and not. So Square is the cert. Okay, so this is the cert which is giving here. So this is how you can also do analysis. You want to know about the third party, they are using one of the Mailgun as a third party provider, some SaaS applications, internet footprint. So this is how I would do the analysis. I'll look at the scoring part as well. So let's say this application, we already checked that this expired mail.2, so this expired certification, we already checked that. So it has been already expired more than a year ago. Okay, probably DNS is pointing to somewhere else, so that is why I would also hunt on this one. Even if not, I know that I'm not going to find anything because it does not have a web application. I have also 5 to 6 different examples which I cannot share. So they were only having site.com and api.site.com in the scope. But when I found the expired assets and I told them, okay, you have an expired asset, which is the certificate expired more than 500 days ago, that is also pointing to the wrong DNS entry, but still the domain is ending with your name. So this is an abandoned domain on which there is one port which has OpenSSH version very old, which has X many number of POCs available from the CVE point of view. I haven't exploited any of those, but this is a abandoned asset you should fix. So they also came back and say, okay, we can't provide you the bounty, but I think this is a really good finding and thanks for pointing out to us. Okay, so consider this as a more of a attack surface intelligence point of view, not just from the bug bounty point of view. Okay, any more questions? We can take it up from the voice, and otherwise we'll go to the Slido and take all the questions one by one.
Can you share me the report?
Which report? This one.
Yes.
Yeah, so if I share you the report, it means that you are not going to use my tool, right?
No, I want was
Okay, if you want to use my
report
tool,
for
download,
myself.
install, and then you run it.
Hi,
I have
Chintan.
shared my link in. Please send me a connection request.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, I mean, I can share the report. I can share the report in Excel and CSV and JSON file. You can also use dark theme here. So I'll share this report, but I want that you install the tool, and because you have to install one time and then you can use it for multiple purpose. So yes. Yeah, sorry, someone was asking something.
Okay.
If I don't have permission of owner, then can I still run the tool of the website?
Sorry, I didn't get your first part of the question.
If I don't have the permission of the owner of the websites,
Okay.
so can I still run
No, if you don't have
this?
permission, don't use. I created
Uh,
an open source tool, right? You can use it in 10 different
yes.
ways, okay? But you have to take care of your, security. If you don't have permission, don't do a crime. Simple. All the websites that I'm scanning here, they're part of the bug bounty program, or I have taken from you guys, okay? So, yeah, you use it at your own risk, I would say. It's same as the bug bounty. If there is a bug bounty program, go for it.
Okay.
What is the hello?
Yeah.
I have sent my link in chat. Please send me the connection request.
I'll share the slide and everything, which will have my YouTube to every different stuff, and then yeah. Yes. If
Yeah,
you if you share
I'll,
if you share the link here, people will start flooding link here, and I cannot add each and everyone. So better you guys
yeah,
add me, and then I'll accept.
yeah, exactly. Aditya, I've already shared link in the chat box. You can send the contact connect then. Okay.
Cool. Right, so we'll go to the questions here. Okay, so we'll take the upward question first. Your personal bug bounty methodology. Right, I knew this question would come. So I'm only hunting on the business logic flaws. I'm not hunting on anything else. Why?
Hello,
Yeah.
uh, this is Orbis tool. Am I right?
Which one? The one that I demoed.
This report is generated by Orbis.
Yeah. So this is the tool link I gave you in the chat.
Okay.
Okay, cool. The first question is what is my personal bug bounty methodology? So I'm only hunting on the business logic flaws for which I have created almost 2 hours of detailed video here. Okay. The reason I'm going for the business logic flaw because that is based on the creativity. If you have more creativity, you'll find some more stuff and your acceptance ratio is high compared to you would use easy XSS or Dalfox and all the XSS tool and find some XSS which might be true positive, but by the time you report it, 100 other people would have might have already reported and already duplicated. So that's why I only hunt the business logic flow. So this is one, the business logic flow methodology. uh, I just generalize the methodology. I'm giving a very practical step. You give me each and every target, I'll utilize the same methodology. It doesn't matter that website is in from the retail environment or a banking environment or anything. Okay, so let me give you this link. Okay, and then you watch this video. Okay, and then you'll understand the methodology. I hope that answers the question. So I'll take it off. How to delete kernel of a computer device without victim permission. Okay, so Amit, uh, if you talk about the kernel, okay, are you can you come on the mic and explain me a bit question, because explain me a little more what you are trying to ask if you are on the call. Okay, that's fine. So just to explain everyone, first of all, the question itself says without victim permission, so I'm not going to answer. We should not be doing that. Second thing, when we are talking about the kernel, now modern computer kernels are different compared to the old computer kernels. The modern computer kernels have a ring methodology. When we say ring, which means the inner ring is a hardware ring on which the kernel files are stored, and then the one more layer of ring, outer ring, is the operating system ring. Okay, and then one more outer ring is called application ring, where your applications and everything are being installed. Okay, so because of those ring methodology and they are very separated from each other, okay, that's why it's very hard. So for example, if you want to really go into the kernel hacking and all, you have to pass all the rings. So one is called, let's say, a privilege ring, which is a hardware level ring 0. Okay, then there is strict access control. You need to have authorized control for that. For example, if you talk about the Mac OS, then Mac OS has something called system integrity protection SIP. So basically what it does, it tries to protect the kernel from getting tampered. Okay, so even let's say if the SIP is there, even root user cannot go and modify the kernel version. So similarly, probably in Windows, I think they are using something called patch guard. So what patch guard does, it will prevent any user but the admin to modify the kernel level files. Okay, so and then one more layer would be the secure boot. So the secure boot is something which is connected to the ring 0, which is your hardware. Okay, so when you do the secure boot or firmware level booting, and those are the cryptographically signed files. So if you, let's say, temper the kernel, the secure boot will not happen because the cryptography, hash it's not a hash, but cryptographic signs have been changed. So you would need to bypass each layer in order to modify the kernel and still make your system boot every single time. But yeah, I'm not much expert in the kernel, but this is what I know theoretically, so I answered. Tips for finding IDOR and how to hack the vulnerabilities. Okay, so IDOR methodology is simple. People have been using from so many years and it hasn't been changed. Okay, the only tip that I would give is when you go for IDOR, log in, visit the application manually, try to identify more and more data. Once you have more data, what you will need to do, you will need to put this data into two categories. So one category is someone is not able to see this data from outside, and someone or everyone is able to see this data because that data is made to be public. Okay, so let's say you log in and your profile information, so your username is still for, if you log in into the hacker one, people can see your username, people can see your reputation, so that I'll put into the second category, which is a public data. Okay, but let's say the number of reports that you have submitted which are in triage, which are not dissolved, these are something you are only able to see. Okay, so identify these two categories, separate the data, and go for the category one and see if you can remove the cookies. Okay, can you still see this data? Or even if you are not removing the cookies, what is the user identifier, right? I am able to see my reports. Why? Because are there any unique keys which are going into the request, which is through which the server knows that okay, these are coming from legitimate Chintan's account, so I should be able to allow him to see his data. Okay, if you can find the unique keys. If you don't know, okay, modern day requests are having so many large number of parameters and stuff. If you don't know, put the entire request into GPT, ask are there any user identifiable keys or strings are there. If it says yes, then take that string, try to identify how can you modify it to get another user's data. So I mean, I just made it complex, but it's simple. You find the data which are not supposed to be seen by people. Okay, then you find the unique key which is for your data, and then you temper the unique key to see other people's data. So it's the same methodology all these years. How can I extract the specific data from data set and practice it with the fake entry? Can I remove the data from a combined data set and replace it with a clone? Okay, so this one I cannot answer because I require more context on this one. Okay, what data set you are talking about? What are you wanting to get? What are you wanting to replace? And where are you wanting to submit it? Are you talking about the web application, thick client application, API, or what? So without more context, I cannot, give a specific answer. If you are on the call, Abel, then can you elaborate more, or I'll pass the question and go to next.
I have one question.
Is it? Are you asking this question? The one on my screen?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here,
Okay,
sir.
okay, okay.
No,
Eh, the type of data I'm talking about is maybe as a, let me say, an inspector trying to like remove a particular data from a set of data and like replace it with another type which is clone, which is not the original one, like the way they used to do in all these American movies, like all these politics type, and those are the things I'm asking for.
Okay, so that would, okay, so you will need to understand the format of the data type, how it's formatted, okay? Then you take something out and then you are putting something in, okay? The one that you are putting in, probably most of the websites or most of the, validation authorities would try to compile, a unique hash or unique string based on what you are submitting. So let's say if I have cloned something, I've taken something out, I'm putting something in, but at the end it will has to be validated by the server. Okay, so now without knowing what you are actually trying on a technical level, it would be hard to answer because this is very generic question. But all I'm saying is when you are talking about the fake entry, it will not be validated by the server because they have a server side control to fix stuff. Sorry, to compute the string, and that string has to match with the server string whatever they had in the server. I hope that answers your question, but yeah, you can
Yeah,
connect me on
yeah,
LinkedIn.
yes, that's answer my question a little bit, sure. Thank
Okay,
you.
okay, no worries. Well, thanks. Take this. How to apply the first cybersecurity? Okay, I'm going to take couple of questions altogether. How to apply for cybersecurity job for freshers? I'll take this. Which entry level certification require? I'll take this. Bug bounty roadmap from basic to advanced. I'll take this. Uh, okay. Suggest any free or course valuable certification. Done. How to make a perfect CV fraud? Done. I'm new to cybersecurity. Done. And then what are the vertical horizontal subdomains? Done. What is the difference between the bug bounty hunter and web pen test? So yeah, I'll explain this. Okay, what is the difference between? Okay, cool. So all the questions which I marked it as done, I already have a cybersecurity roadmap on my website. Okay, this is not just ordinary roadmap, it is a very long guide but very practical guide. There are screenshots, there are tapes, there are tables, there are mind maps, there are everything. Okay, so either you are looking for a certification, you are looking for a abroad job, you are looking for entering into the cyber domain, you are looking for moving from the offensive to defensive security, you are looking for a job and resume updates and tips, you are also looking for internship stuff, anything that you're looking for, even if you're thinking of becoming a CEO just out of your master, everything is here. You might not get a time to read everything. I would suggest just go through the index. I don't think so there is any beginner question which I haven't covered here. Okay, if you find any questions which I haven't covered here, please ask me on the LinkedIn and I'll be happy to answer, but otherwise everything is here. Okay, so let me give you the link in the chat. So I'll move to the next question. What is the most underrated recon technique in the bug bounty? I cannot generalize that. People have their own different methodology. Okay, so what I know is some people are finding one or two bug and they are focusing on the same bug on every single website. Okay, because they know that they have either found it via unusual way or something which is giving them a higher acceptance rate ratio. And some people are running everything, for example me running everything, find everything and then see what I can find extra. So there are no underrated techniques or something. I think it's just that you need to understand the target well. You need to understand why each websites are created and why not. You need to understand the topology, how they are connected and not, and then pick a based on the rating that okay, what is the highest risk asset. Okay, so I hope that answers question, but I don't have a specific stuff. WordPress hunting methodology, simple WP scan. Why? Because again, it's a 80-20 rule. I will not do 80% of hard work to get 20% result. I'll do 20% of hard work to get 80% result. Why? WP scan is being managed. All the WordPress related vulnerabilities, plugins, everything are kept up to date. Why not to run that and find a vulnerability and then go from there? So that is the only way I can suggest. Another thing I would suggest is this one. I use this a lot. People use this a lot. Hactrix, very famous. You come here, you find the WordPress, or let's say I go here and search for the WordPress. It will slightly load slow, so sometimes. So this is the feature, but I don't know. Yeah, so now it's coming. Yeah, so if you search for WordPress, you'll find everything on the WordPress. This is one single resource for any red teamer pen tester, from network to web to API to operating system to privilege escalation, everything. It's all here. And the same resource made for all the cloud, AWS, Azure, GCP. If you want to hack anything, you can just come here. So these are the two great resources which I utilize all the time for my pen testing and red teaming, and you can do the same. So I'll give it here. While there are so many stuff here, you can't go in each and every in detail. What I would suggest, utilize the search feature. Okay, if I search for, let's say, JWT, I'll get everything of JWT. If you test all of these test cases on one website, then probably you don't have anything else. You just tested this, it's all done. You can move to the next target or the next vulnerability. Okay, so I hope that answers this question. Red teaming में entry कैसे करें? So red teaming is a journey. You don't enter into red teaming, you eventually pivot into red teaming. Okay, so you start from the security analyst, become a senior security analyst or consultant, and then you are doing a pen testing, then you are doing a senior, then you are becoming a senior pen tester. After 5-7 years, you are becoming a pen test manager. Probably you work in a big four company where they are also getting the red teaming projects, and then you do the red teaming. Okay, and red teaming in a lot of companies are only about the technical hacking and all, but it's a combination of threat intelligence plus physical security plus social engineering and then technical hacking. So technical hacking is all about whatever we are doing, bug bounty, pen testing and all. Social engineering, you already know, you need to do that. You have to have boots on the ground in order to hack companies. Threat intelligence, you are taking the context from the intelligence, you are trying to mimic as a threat actor and then targeting the company. Okay, so if you start working as a security analyst, become a pen tester and land in a big four company or a very big company, eventually you can become a red teamer. What is TLS and how it works? So I'm not going to answer that. That's very basic question. So you can ask Google, you'll find a lot of stuff. Okay, one more thing that I would suggest, use the notebook LLM. So if I come here, create, let's say, explain me TLS like 2-year-old kid. Okay, sorry, I'm not offending you, it's just this is my way of understanding very complex stuff. So if I want to understand kernel vulnerabilities or something, I can come here and I can ask the same question in the same very way. Okay, so it will find all these resources. You just say fresh, and then I'm creating an infographic. Okay, so here I click on this icon, come here, explain me the TLS and SSL in very per language like 5-year-old kid. Either you can have a normal infographic or you can have a detailed infographic. I think Notebook LLM is free, you can use it, no need to pay for it, or you can do the same thing with GPT or so let it run. I'll come to that part later on. So that will cover the TLS part. What is the difference between bug bounty hunter and pentester and VAPT? Okay, so VAPT, both words. So you do VA using automated scanners, Tenable, Qualys, Burp Suite, all the scanners. Whatever findings you get in VA, you are also validating those in PT. Plus, you are finding some manual stuff using PT, which automated scanners cannot find. Okay, so either VAPT is a job or VAPT is a domain. Okay, pen testers would sit inside the VAPT, so they would do all the stuff. They get a project scope is defined, they will do the everything from the recon part to testing part to writing a report end to end. Bug bounty hunter only finding bugs on the public forum. So let's say let's say these are two of the websites. So I'll go here, I'll look at the VDP program, I know that scope and everything, and then I'll find the bugs. Okay, so you can go on the hacker one and all. So they're only finding bugs and they're getting paid. So these are the only difference. So bug bounty hunters, I think the scope has been defined by the company. Lot of time network is never in the scope. Majority of the time network is never in the scope. It's only web applications and API. Okay, and the source code these days. What do you think about the pandemic? I haven't used that, so I'm not sure. I'll check it later on. Just a second, I'll take the note, or I'll check it later on. What is the difference between recon and footprinting? It's the same thing, different name, nothing else. Recon, footprinting, or information gathering, you can say everything. Okay, mostly recon is used for the term when we talk about the applications and the bug bounty, and footprinting is used for more like a entire company footprinting, right from the identifying the company's subdomains, not only subdomains, I would say subsidiaries. So Tesla has a subsidiary called SpaceX, for example. Reliance has a subsidiary of Reliance Fresh. So now we are talking about the company level footprinting, the network level footprinting, and application level footprinting. It's just a different word, nothing else. In WScan, I found some vulnerability plugin, how to exploit those. If you found the plugin, you find the version number, go on the trick set, which I give you. Okay, search for those plugins or names or something, and you'll find the CV. Once you find the CV, you can find the POC script, and then you can start exploiting that. In other words, you found the plugin, or then give it to Claude, give it to GPT, ask it, okay, I want to exploit this, how can I do that, give me some theoretical steps, but make sure you mention that you are doing a legal penetration testing, otherwise GPT or Claude will not give you the answer. Okay, cool. So let me come back to Notebook LLM, and let's say, okay, so if I want to learn SSL TLS like a 5-year-old kid, this is how I would learn. Step 1, the secret handshake. The client says hello, handshake happens, this is you, this is website. Okay, the magic mailbox, you send something, padlock, they only have a key to decrypt your message. Okay, once the connection is established, they provide you the certificate is broken, old. So SSL is an old protocol, TLS is a new protocol. If you see this, so yeah, this is how I would definitely understand the TLS SSL. If you want to know a bit more technical, probably you can do this. Call is SSL lab. Go here. So let me open this in a different. Okay, if it doesn't get open, then okay, you go to any you go to Qualys SSL lab, and they will have this home page where all these application names are mentioned. People are scanning their website. So yeah, So we can come here. If you want to know one of the strongest SSL certificate, it's A plus. One of the weakest one is F and T. You can open side by side, click on any of the website or any of the domain out of those company. Okay, and then you can know why this is strong, because the certificate is strong, protocol handshake and support is strong, key exchange is strong, and cipher strength are strong. Why? Because for each of them you can find all the green stuff or the black stuff, which is good. But if you come here, you will know why they are weak, because protocol support is not there, key exchange is weak, ciphers are strong, certificate is strong. So when we talk about the protocol, probably they are only using SSL, not TLS. So if I come here, so they are not using TLS 1.1, 1.3 is not supported, and they are using SSL 2 and 3, which has a lot of vulnerability from Poodle to Heartbleed to anything. So that is why it's insecure. So I will start very basic like this, then I'll go and then do a detailed one from here. So this is how I would learn SSL. More questions coming in. If I found a software version vulnerabilities, there is now POC, but CVs exist in that patch is also available. Can you tell me in that situation what? Sorry, I didn't understand this question. Can someone speak it up, or can someone explain me?
Sir, I have found a software version vulnerability by using the weblaser, by analyzing some website. So it has some outdated software.
Yeah.
And also it has some patches also. So already given.
Yeah. So
But the website the website does not seems to be outdated. So when I look for POC, proof of concept expert DB, there will be no POC, and it will shows like CVs here. CVs are there.
yeah.
Then how can, as a beginner, how can I learn this type of practical signal, this type of
Okay.
breakthrough? How can
Yeah. So remember, exploit DB is only one of the platform where the exploits come, right? There could be so many other platforms, or people might not be even submitting their exploits over here. Okay, so this is only one of the platform. The biggest stuff you would do is, let's say we'll take an example, Nginx 1.10.1. I think one of the one we found. Okay, so I'll search that on Google with vulnerabilities. Okay, the two of the websites which I would go is its official website, but before that I'll go to cvdetails.com. Okay, why? Because cvdetails.com will take care of every single vulnerabilities and stuff. So there is a cv details. So cv, okay, so I come here and I see, okay, Nginx 1.0, okay, does it have any vulnerabilities or not? So product information and stuff, the version is deprecated. So if it's deprecated, it would have some sort of vulnerability. Okay, if I click here, I can see there is overflow vulnerability in 2017 and 21. Okay, denial of service and all. Okay, so let's say if I click both of this on a side by side, then I have this CV, it has a potential exploit. I click here, and then I'll find some reference websites over here. Okay, so if someone has released a POC, I would be able to find that. Okay, or now because you have got the CV, you know that it affects a Nginx 1.0.10.1. You can take that, go to the trick set. Okay, let's say you go here, you click here, search for that CV, it has an entry. I come here and now I'll have all the CVs. Okay, so these all POCs are covering 0.5.6 to this. So this is how I would do. Okay, you search for the version number. Let's say we'll take let's say smart FTPD 2.3.4. Okay, so first I search for that. I'm already getting all the exploits available. Okay, but then again I'll search for the vulnerabilities. Do not directly search for the POCs and exploits. Search for the vulnerabilities. Go to the CV details. Okay, so this has all the vulnerabilities and stuff. Okay, Uh, it says no vulnerability. I'll have to check it, but let me go and check on. Okay, so I don't know why the number is not coming up. It should have some number, but anyway, if I come on 2019, it has a vulnerability with a public exploit. So first I'll take this. I'll go to trick set again. I'll give a CV here. You'll find all the POCs here. Okay. Same way, if I come here, let's say if I give a CV here, okay, you can come to the reference part and you'll find some more stuff here. So this is how you would find.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. So can you give the reference
Yeah,
GitHub
trick set.
links for
Sure. So this is it. Okay, so CV details is one. You search for the vulnerabilities, you search for the exploit, okay, or you search for the GitHub. If you do these three, probably you'll get everything from the POC or exploitation point of view. Okay, so I think that's covered. I have been learning cybersecurity as much as bug bounty, solving THNS since. Should I move to blue teaming stain? No, I think whatever you do in the cybersecurity, first, if you're a beginner, first get a job. Okay, don't go here and there. Okay, you have the methodology, you read these. Do not go here and there. Just learn at least that much, which will help you to land a job. Once you are in the job, you do whatever your company is asking you, because company needs to grow, company needs to generate a revenue. They will get so many different types of projects, so many big type of customers. Okay, so whatever they will give you, you just execute. Okay, company will not only have pentest division, eventually they will also grow and bigger, build a SOC division, threat intelligence division. So your first aim is to get the job, not to learn blue teaming, red teaming, everything all together. So do only those learning part. Okay, so for example, if I am a beginner and I don't know what to learn, I'll simply come here, and I'm open for learning everything. Okay, I'll simply come here, I'll click on the jobs, I'll click here, let's say India. Okay, if I click here, then look at all the different jobs. Okay, and this will tell me that there are more engineering jobs, there are more offensive security jobs, there are more, let's say based on my profile, it is recommending me a lot of director level job. Based on your profile, it will recommend a lot of analyst or engineer level job. Then you will understand that, okay, I think I should learn this because jobs are demanding this. Simple. Cool. So all questions are tackled. I'll stop sharing my screen. If you guys have anything, feel free to ask, or we can wrap it up. Any thoughts, any questions, any feedback you want to share? Yes, Abhishek, your question. Sir, I heard about one video. Car no have SQL query and data had been deleted. Is that possible, sir? I wanted to know. I couldn't understand your question. Can you explain your question a bit, please? If someone can explain me that question. So, sorry, Abhishek, I couldn't understand your question. Probably we'll connect after the call and then I'll be able to help you. Got one question here. Have you engaged in the real life experiences for the cybersecurity journey? What do you mean by real life? Whatever we do throughout our job all these years, whether it's offensive, defensive, they are all real life hacking experiences, right? Okay, but if you ask me one of the close one, then I would share this image with you. That is probably I would put into the definition of real life. So let me hunt that image meanwhile. Hope I'll be able to find quickly. Yeah, this is the one. So we were given a red teaming project to hack one of the power station of entire village of the New Zealand. So we tricked social engineering to the guards. We did the lock picking of this fence. We went inside. We knew that uh, the CCTV was covering from here. So we went behind. We did the lock picking. We went inside the power station. We were having authority and permission to probably close the do whatever we want to do. So we had all this full scope from the government and all, so we were successful. So it felt like a movie whatever we do. So that is probably I would consider as a real world experience when it comes to hacking. So yeah, it felt like a movie when it comes to hacking. So I'm a beginner. Recently, I have started learning about cybersecurity. Can you please explain how to start bug bounty and how to select targets? Um, okay, I would suggest if you're starting now, you pick any target, okay, but then pick a random target. Don't go for the bug bounty, because what I feel like people who start bug bounty journey now, they don't know how bug bounty world has automated the entire world. Most likely you are able to find something, but by the time this is already submitted and duplicated. So you can, if you are self motivated, then go for the bug bounty. But if you are not, after 6 months, 9 months, you will feel demotivated if you don't find a bug. So what I would suggest, type any keyword, go to 10th 11th page, find any random website, let's say.
हाँ जितने और स्क्रीन नोट visible.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, so you find you type any keyword. Is it visible now?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah,
you
visible.
okay, so you find you type any keyword, go to 10th 11th page, find a non-random website, let's say boomplay.com. I never heard about that. Okay, so you pick that as a target and then start hunting. Okay, methodology, there are plenty of methodologies available on the internet. I would suggest focus on the business logic flow, for which I have already given the shared the YouTube link. So this is the methodology that I'm following. Okay, but focus more on learning the skills rather than thinking of getting so much money out of the bug bounty, because if someone is starting, they don't know how market is cluttered and fully automated. So it's very hard to find bug which is unique, which no one has found in the entire world. It's very hard these days now. Okay, I'll close these. How a fresher can get a cybersecurity job, it's already covered. All good. Okay, so sir, my question is that there was a video, in that video someone saying the traffic camera scan car number plate traffic rule breaking charge, and he scan SQL query run on that server, ultimately all data deleted automatically. Okay, so could be possible, could be not, because when you're talking about SQL has two parts. So one is to, you are constructing a query to get something out of the database, but then you can also update the query in order to update the database. So when you are trying to update the database with those update queries, you can also delete, you can also flush the database. Okay, so yes, it could be possible, but without looking at those things technically, I wouldn't be able to comment. Okay, any more?
Hello, I am also an under bounty hunter. I do part time. I recently got a 500 bounty from Flipkart for business logic issue.
Yeah.
I am still lacking for skills.
Sorry, your question is I couldn't understand.
That if I hunt a target and find some bugs that I did not able to explain the company
Hmm.
in report writing, they
Yeah.
how to do that manage the report writing.
Okay. So
कि that कि how a company understand my things in a once.
right. Okay. So you put yourself as a CISO or the head of security of that company. Okay. You don't think you are a bug bounty hunter. Okay. You write a report today, finish it, do not do anything, come after 2 days. Okay. Now you are a CISO. Now you are reading a report which someone has submitted. If you can understand it very well, if you can understand the impact well, then that report is submissible. Okay, if you yourself who found the vulnerability could not explain it or could not understand it, probably they will never understand. Okay, so the most important thing that they are looking for is the impact. You can find so many stuff, okay, but if you can't able to demonstrate what is the impact, whether it is the impact on their database, impact on the server, impact on the data, impact on the PII, they won't be able to care. Okay, so you can create a GPT agent, right? So for example, let me share this again. Okay, so let's say you come on ChatGPT, you can go and there are so many agents are there, right? So what you can do, you can explore the GPT here. Okay, you can create an agent. Okay, rather than configuring yourself, I would configure myself, but you can come here and then what you have to write is, I am a bug bounty hunter, I'm submitting so many reports. Majority of the times, companies are not able to understand the impact. Okay, so create a agent in a way that whenever I submit you the vulnerability on this GPT, you first validate and then you tell me whether this is able to be submitted or not. So you create this agent every time when you find something, all find, add the screenshot and code and everything over here, let it write the report or let it modify your report, and then if you are satisfied, then you submit the report. So this is what I would do probably.
Okay.
Cool. All right, I need to go. So if you this link is activated for 24 hours for today. So if you have more questions, just please add on this one, and I'll do a comment, and then I'll answer all of this here. But otherwise,
Yeah,
thanks.
Chintan.
Yeah,
Yeah, I have one question.
yeah.
That's many people often ask me as well. So sometimes companies don't fix certain bugs, like especially low or medium bugs, and mostly focus on critical issues. So according to your experience, like 14 plus experience, so how should a bug hunter handle the situation, and how to important are low severity bugs in the long run?
Okay, so for bug hunter is very simple, and for company is very simple. Okay, I'm not paying any single penny if you can't show the impact, whether it's a low, whether it's a critical. Okay, if it's low, I'll pay you low amount of money, but still there is an impact. There is an impact to my people, my customer, my company. So I'll pay you. That is fine. So you can still hunt for the low hanging fruits and stuff. But if you can't generate an impact, username, for example, username enumeration, you found so many usernames, but if I have an account lockout policy, you can't brute force, you can't find the password, then there is no impact. Okay, in a long run, yes, I would fix that, but also imagine, okay, probably we also need to identify, okay, you guys are a bug bounty hunter. Okay, I have been on the both side. I have become a pentester and red teamer in the early career, and then I was managing the bug bounty program for the product based company. As a company, I'm not only receiving vulnerabilities from HackerOne. Okay, I have a program on HackerOne. Imagine on the VDP and BBP, there are so many reports coming on a week to week basis. I have a very limited small amount of team, let's say 25 developers, couple of sysadmin and all, who are managing the entire application of my portfolio. Okay, First of all, I'm getting all these vulnerabilities from HackerOne. I have a DevSecOps tooling for the secret scanning, SaaS, third party. I also have an internal burp suite or Qualys or Tenable which are finding vulnerabilities on the application level on the operating system. My development team is anyway so much task in order to fix all these vulnerabilities or at least 80% of the vulnerabilities. On top of that, if I get a garbage report from HackerOne or from the random bug bounty hunters, I'm not going to prioritize it. I'm not going to even look at the report. That is, I don't have a capacity to look at every single report coming into my bucket. That's why I have given a program on HackerOne. So that's why the triage team would come. They will filter the noise out. They will filter the garbage out, and they will only send the impactful, vulnerabilities to me. Okay. So whatever you
Okay.
do, if you can show the impact, that is fine. Okay. I give you one
Yeah.
example. I'll give you another example. On one of the target, I submitted something. They don't even have that asset on the target list. Okay, they were having only two assets, not even wildcard. What I found, I was able to look at the configuration of the OpenAPI.json on one of the target that was not in the scope. I read the configuration, I gave it to GPT, I understood how to craft a manual request, I look at the Open API docs, I found how I can use that Open API. I was thinking that okay, configuration file can be online, but when I actually start utilizing that Open AI, probably I'll get some error because it might be protected. I crafted a request and put in the Bob shoot repeater in a way that okay, I'm using this company's Open API using GPT Nano, write a draft cover letter for the software engineer job. It actually wrote the draft letter. So imagine I'm using companies Open API credits for free, and they are not. And when I check the business, they are not even operating in those areas. So they are not providing any sort of free API services or something. So when I reported that, even the asset was not into the scope, but they fixed it. They paid me. Why? Because I was able to create the impact. So don't only
Okay.
restrict yourself to whatever is in the scope. If you can actually create an impact, just submit the bug. Otherwise it would be still learning for you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Cool. So let's wrap it up, and I'll answer the other questions on this Slido throughout the day. But thank you everyone for joining, and I hope this is helpful for you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Hello, I have sent you request on LinkedIn. Please
Yeah, yeah,
please
yeah. I'll do that. I'll
connect
do that.
me.
All
Okay,
good. All good.
okay.
All right. Thanks everyone. Bye.
Yeah. Thank you so much for everyone to join the today's session, and special thanks to Chintan and always known as a Cyber Frogy or such of the amazing session and the Darknet community for the collaboration. And thanks for all your participation. Hope your doubts are clear and you learned. If you have any other doubts, then can you put your question in uh,
Slido.
this link? I'm a Slido. I'm again share this link in the chat. Okay, just wait a minute, guys.
I just pasted. All good.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Thanks everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Bye bye.
Okay.